Miami Vice is an American crime drama television series created by Anthony Yerkovich and produced by Michael Mann for NBC. The series stars Don Johnson as Sonny Crockett and Philip Michael Thomas as Rico Tubbs, two Metro-Dade Police Department detectives working undercover in Miami. The series ran for 5 seasons on NBC from 1984 to 1989. Unlike standard police procedurals, the show drew heavily upon 1980s new wave culture and is noted for its integration of contemporary pop music and stylish visuals. People magazine states that Miami Vice was the first show to look really new and different since color TV was invented. The conception of the show is unclear. One version of events states that the head of NBC's entertainment division, Brandon Tartikoff, wrote a brainstorming memo that simply read, "MTV Cops." He later presented it to series creator Anthony Yerkovich, formerly a writer and producer for Hill Street Blues.
This is Don Johnson without even without, well, but with Bavaria, without alcohol.
Yerkovich, however, has indicated he devised the concept after learning about asset forfeiture statutes allowing law enforcement agencies to confiscate the property of drug dealers for official use. The initial idea was for a movie about a pair of vice cops in Miami. Yerkovich then wrote a script for a 2-hour pilot titled Gold Coast, but later renamed it Miami Vice. Yerkovich was immediately drawn to South Florida as a setting for his new style police show. In keeping with the show's title, most episodes focus on combating drug trafficking and prostitution. Episodes often end in an intense gun battle, claiming the lives of several criminals before they can be apprehended. An undercurrent of cynicism and futility underlies the entire series. Executive producer Yerkovich explained, "Even when I was on Hill Street Blues, I was collecting information on Miami. I thought of it as a sort of a modern-day American Casablanca. It seemed to be an interesting socio-economic tide pool. The incredible number of refugees from Central America and Cuba, the already extensive Cuban-American community, and on top of all that, the drug trade. There is a fascinating amount of service industries that revolve around the drug trade: money laundering, bail bondsmen, attorneys who service drug smugglers. Miami has become a sort of Barbary coast of free enterprise gone berserk."
We're stuck, pal. We need help.
Beautiful.
Is there a mechanic in the house?
There ain't no choice. It's Pepsi in the USA. It's Pepsi in the USA. And there ain't no choice. It's Pepsi in the USA. It's Pepsi in the USA. It's Pepsi in the USA.
The choice of music and cinematography borrowed heavily from the emerging new wave culture of the 1980s. As such, segments of Miami Vice sometimes used music-based stanzas, a technique later featured in Baywatch. As Lee Katzin, one of the show's directors, remarked, "The show is written for an MTV audience, which is more interested in images, emotions and energy than plot and character." These elements made the series into an instant hit, and in its first season saw an unprecedented 15 Emmy Award nominations. While the first few episodes contain elements of a standard police procedural, the producers soon abandoned them in favor of a more distinctive style. Influenced by an Art Deco revival, no earth tones were allowed to be used in the production by executive producer Michael Mann.
And you have an alligator you work with. Is the alligator still in the show?
Yeah.
Now, how do you like working with an alligator?
Well, it's better than kids, you know. No.
Oh, easy does it. We're all grown-ups here, you know.
No. The expression "trained alligator" is like a contradiction in terms. It's like military intelligence and an unfixed prize fight and that sort of thing. Yeah, he's got a bigger entourage than anybody on the show. He walks in with 6 of the biggest guys you've ever seen in your life.
Is it possible that he could do something to hurt somebody just being an alligator?
They have not evolved 1 second in 100 million years. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, so you got the picture.
Yeah, I do have the
picture. They
picture.
could put some bad hurt on you, pal, I'm telling you.
Do they, now what about they used to roll them over on their back and rub their stomachs and hypnotize them and put them to sleep?
There isn't a man alive that does that, no. I mean, unless, of course, he's looking to lose an arm or a leg or something. Actually,
They're really that nasty?
Oh, they're bad. They do 2 things. They bite you or they don't.
Oh.
A director of Miami Vice, Bobby Roth, recalled, "There are certain colors you are not allowed to shoot, such as red and brown. If the script says, a Mercedes pulls up here, the car people will show you 3 or 4 different Mercedes. One will be white, one will be black, one will be silver. You will not get a red or brown one. Michael knows how things are going to look on camera." Nick Nolte and Jeff Bridges were considered for the role of Sonny Crockett. But since it was not lucrative for film stars to venture into television at the time, other candidates were considered. Mickey Rourke was also considered for the role, but he turned down the offer. Larry Wilcox of Chips was also a candidate for the role of Crockett, but the producers felt going from one police officer role to another would not be a good fit. After dozens of candidates and a twice-delayed pilot shooting, Don Johnson and Philip Michael Thomas were chosen as the vice cops. For Johnson, who was by then 34 years old, NBC had particular doubts about the several earlier unsuccessful pilots in which he starred. After 2 seasons, Don Johnson threatened to walk from the series as part of a highly publicized contract dispute. The network was ready to replace him with Mark Harmon, who had recently departed Saint Elsewhere. But the network and Johnson were able to resolve their differences, and he continued with the series until its end. Despite the Miami setting, the producers initially planned to film the series in Los Angeles. However, by the time production began, the decision had been made to shoot in Miami itself. Many episodes of Miami Vice were filmed in the South Beach section of Miami Beach, an area which, at the time, was blighted by poverty and crime, with its demographics so deteriorated that there simply weren't many people on the street. Ocean Drive's hotels were filled with elderly, mostly Jewish retirees, many of them frail, subsisting on meager Social Security payments. They were filming all over Miami Beach. They could film in the middle of the street. There was literally nobody there. There were no cars parked in the street. In early episodes in particular, local elderly residents were frequently cast as extras.
But Wilcox still had a passion for acting. In 1984, he auditioned for the role of Sonny Crockett on Miami Vice.
Yeah, look at this damn badge. It says Miami. I'm starting to wonder if I'm working in damn Disney World.
Wilcox narrowly lost out to Don Johnson.
Some street corners of South Beach were so run down that the production crew actually decided to repaint the exterior walls of some buildings before filming. Miami Vice is to some degree credited with causing a wave of support for the preservation of Miami's famous Art Deco architecture in the mid-1980s to early 1990s. And many of those buildings, among them many beachfront hotels, have been renovated since filming, making that part of South Beach one of South Florida's most popular places for tourists and celebrities. Miami Vice is noted for its innovative use of pop and rock hits of the 1980s and the distinctive, synthesized instrumental music of Jan Hammer. While other television shows used made-for-TV music, Miami Vice would spend $10,000 or more per episode to buy the rights to original recordings. Getting a song played on Miami Vice was a boost to record labels and artists. In fact, some newspapers would let readers know the songs that would be featured each week. Jan Hammer credits executive producer Michael Mann with allowing him great creative freedom in scoring Miami Vice. The collaboration resulted in memorable instrumental pieces, including the show's title theme. which climbed to the top of the Billboard charts in November 1985.
It's here and he's arrived, playing front and center stage. All eyes are on Jan Hammer, Miami Vice's musical genius who has catapulted TV soundtracks into a new era.
The song took off like a rocket. You know, we knew that it was going to do something, but, you know, the album's #1.
Nowadays, a #1 soundtrack is synonymous with a music video. The making of the Miami Vice video wasn't as easy as it may look. The people at the music company, MCA, put their heads together with the masterminds of Miami Vice and decided that Joel Goodman, a Miami Vice editor, would be the director.
What we wanted to do is put Jan into Miami Vice because Jan's sound is so associated with the Miami Vice show, the Jan Hammer sound, that we felt he was really part of the show and should be in the show. So what we're shooting is footage which incorporates him.
The clothes worn on Miami Vice had a significant influence on men's fashion. They popularized, if not invented, the T-shirt under Armani jacket style and popularized Italian men's fashion in the United States. Don Johnson's typical attire of Italian sport coat, T-shirt, white linen pants, and slip-on sockless loafers became a hit. Crockett's unshaven appearance sparked a fashion trend, inspiring men to sport designer stubble. In an average episode, Crockett and Tubbs wore 5 to 8 outfits, appearing in shades of pink, blue, green, peach, and the show's other approved colors. Designers such as Gianni Versace and Hugo Boss were consulted in keeping the male leads looking trendy. Costume designer Bambi Breakstone, who traveled to Milan, Paris, and London in search of new clothes, said that the concept of the show is to be on top of all the latest fashion trends in Europe. Jodie Tillen, the costume designer for the first season, along with Michael Mann, set the style. During its 5-year run, consumer demand for unstructured blazers, shiny fabric jackets, and lighter pastels increased. After 6 formal wear even created a line of Miami Vice dinner jackets, Kenneth Cole introduced Crockett and Tubbs shoes, and Macy's opened a Miami Vice section in its young men's department. Crockett also boosted Ray-Ban's popularity by wearing a pair of Ray-Ban Wayfarers, which increased sales of Ray-Bans to 720,000 units in 1984. Many of the styles popularized by the TV show, such as the T-shirt under pastel suits, no socks, rolled-up sleeves, and Ray-Ban sunglasses, have become the standard image of 1980s culture. 2 automobiles drew a lot of attention in Miami Vice: the Ferrari Daytona and Testarossa. During the first 2 seasons and 2 episodes of the 3rd season, Detective Sonny Crockett drove a black 1972 Ferrari Daytona Spider kit replica built on a Chevrolet Corvette chassis. The car was fitted with Ferrari-shaped body panels. Once the car gained notoriety, Ferrari filed suit demanding that the show cease and desist producing Ferrari replicas and infringing upon the Ferrari name and styling. As a result, the Daytona lasted until Season 2, at which point it was blown up in the Season 3 premiere episode. Neither the kit car nor its backup were actually destroyed, as the production company simply blew up a small, plastic model for both cost and safety reasons. The fake Ferrari were removed from the show, with Ferrari donating 2 brand new 1986 Testarossas as replacements. After deteriorating ratings during the 4th season, NBC originally planned to order just a shortened 5th season of only 13 episodes, but eventually settled for another full run, which was, either way, going to be the final season. At the beginning of Season 5, Olivia Brown recalled, the show was trying to reinvent itself. Dick Wolf said in an interview after the 5th season, it was all just kind of over, and that the show had run its course. The show proved to be a groundbreaking approach to television, making a huge cultural impact not only on 80s culture, but on the mediums of television, cinema, and computer games. The iconic images of Tubbs and Crockett leaning on a white Ferrari have come to define 80s cool,